We're back with our final thoughts of Season 1 of Carnival Row, up next. What's up, Carnival fans? My name is Bruce Moreau.
And I am Stephanie.
And we're back to give you our final thoughts on Carnival Row Season
1.
Season 1, that's right.
Season.
We finished it up, didn't we?
We did.
Yep.
It was really good.
All 8 episodes, can you believe it? We watched all 8 of them. Finally.
It's a big accomplishment for us.
Alright, so this video should be coming out Friday the 13th. This was 2 weeks after the show premiered. So if you haven't seen it yet, probably might want to watch this episode.
You guys should definitely watch this episode.
So we're going to spend like the first 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes kind of keeping this review of our final thoughts spoiler free. So that way any of you who don't want to be spoiled of what the final 3 episodes are about, you guys can watch up to that point. I'll have a big marker, warning, popping sound, something going on to give you guys knowledge that, you know, moving forward past that point, we are going to be spoiler ridden and we'll be talking about all the juicy bits. So yeah, so let's do the spoiler free stuff. So
spoiler free, if you guys like fantasy,
you
like twists and turns,
I like twists and turns,
shocking endings. Yeah. And if you like Game of Thrones, kind of very in the Game of Thrones ending.
Think so?
Yeah. The twists, the turns.
I think Game of Thrones definitely took a lot longer to get the story points. This one did a much better job of giving you a lot of story points, but getting to half the answers by the end.
Yeah.
About half the answers. I think, much like what Stephanie said, I think if you're really into fantasy, I think if you want to see a really cool love story between Philo and Vignette, who are Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne. That story was excellent. Like I said, there was a lot of great plots throughout this story. There wasn't just this love story. We said this in the previous episode. When you see the trailer, you think it's just going to be this love story between these 2 characters, but there is so much more to the show, and they only answered about half of the plot points, or gave you the conclusions of those plot points, and they left a bunch for Season 2, which I believe a commenter on my last video told me that the Season 1 was even renewed before Episode 1 came out.
You mean Season 2 was renewed?
Yes.
Before episode.
Season 2. So, yeah, if you're looking for a show with lots of interesting plot points and interesting characters in a fantastic fantasy-filled world, I think this show is for you.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I'm sure there's more points that we can talk about that would be...
But we don't want to ruin it, guys. So that was it. For all you people who haven't watched it yet, who are waiting to hear what we think, I get it. I would wait to hear what I had to say too. Now you can watch it, but also turn the video off, because it's spoiler time. Spoiler time!
Alright, so let's talk about... let's start with Philo and Vignette. What do you say?
So when we left off, we said that they kind of had, like, the last episode was Philo and him learning about his past and remembering things, and it was kind of a slower episode, but...
long-winded.
They picked it up, guys. They ramped it up. It went from that episode to, like, the last 3 being... to the stars.
To the stars! Yeah, episode 6 was definitely much better than episode 5, like Stephanie was saying. It was a very slow episode, but it gave us the meat of what we needed for the final 3 episodes. What you find out in that episode is that Philo is a half-breed. He is half fae and half human. And the interesting part is that his dad is who?
Well, I don't think they tell you who his dad is till, like...
Well, we're just spoiling...
the 7th episode, but yes.
The end of the 7th episode.
The end of the 7th episode. So, Philo finds out that his dad is the Chancellor! Oh my god!
Absalom Breakspear, I believe his name is.
Yeah, he's got a weird name.
Yeah, pretty crazy name. Which that was a really cool twist. You kind of saw it coming towards the end of episode 6. So in the episode 6, Philo and Vignette both get sent to jail. They're in there together, but at that point, Philo kind of knows or has a thought who the murderer from the previous 5 episodes is, and he was thinking he
thought it was his dad.
His dad.
He thought his dad was the guy who was killing him. I feel like we should backtrack a little bit though, so you understand why Philo and Vignette ended up in jail.
Sure, let them know.
So, I want to give you guys the whole breakdown. I don't want to leave anything out. You guys need to know.
Need to know.
You do. So Philo ends up in jail because he goes and tells the girl, what's her name, that he's sleeping with, that isn't Vignette, that he's trying to fill his empty void of his love for Vignette, his landlord, that he's half fae, half human, and she cannot handle that news. She does not take it as kindly as Vignette does, and she basically turns him in to the police. They find out that he's a half-breed, and they arrest him. They think he's the killer. That's what they think. They think because they put all the puzzle pieces together. They realize that the fae that got killed was Philo's mom, that the man who got killed was Philo's headmaster. They put it all together. They figure out that they're all connected to Philo, and then they find out he's a half-breed, and they're like, that's why. It's because you're the killer. And they put him in jail.
Because he wants to hide the fact that he's a half-breed.
Mm-hmm. And then Vignette ends up in jail because after they raided her home city, they took all the stuff that was in the library that she spent her whole life guarding. And they put it on display like a museum. And all these people come to look at all the Fae-related items that are in there that she protected. And she kind of loses it.
Loses her marbles.
She doesn't take it well, no. So she ends up in jail as well. They end up together. That's what leads us to the story where we find out that the Chancellor is Philo's dad. Amazing. Guys, so amazing.
It was a really, really cool plot twist. I really like that. And I like the whole Breakspear, the Chancellor's family's whole story. I mean, I didn't see him being a big part when we were first watching the show. I was like, oh, he's going to be a Chancellor, city, government, whatever. But that ended up being a huge part of the show, and it's going to be a huge part moving forward into season 2 because, and at the end of this episode, the Chancellor. The Chancellor. Let's call him the Chancellor. That's much easier. Yeah. He is actually killed. There was an attempt on his life by a cult of pucks. These pucks are bananas crazy. They basically want chaos within the city. They don't like the humans. They think the humans are treating the Critch, which are all the magical creatures, like crap, which
they are.
In defense, they are, but they shouldn't have taken it to the extreme that they did, which is trying to assassinate and start chaos within the city, which ends up being pretty cool because then Petrie,
the mom. Their names are all weird. Stop trying to call them names.
The Chancellor's wife, you find out, is the actual killer.
Oh my god, guys.
That's the bomb.
Called it.
All right, she called it. That was, her first of 2 correct things of last episode.
Oh my god. All throughout the season, guys, I was calling it. Even before, as soon as I saw the Chancellor, I'm like, oh my god, it's his dad!
I didn't think it. I wanted it to be something else and something cooler, but it was. It was actually turned out to be great because she was creepy and crazy, and she was wanting to do what's best for her son. But you also find out the Chancellor's son, Jonah, is actually not his son.
No. There's a whole other plot twist, which is where I got it's kind of like Game of Thrones thing that I said. It's very Game of Thrones-esque.
Oh, for that part, yes. So this goes all the way to Sophie Longerbane. Mm-hmm. Longerbane, in episode 4, is the Chancellor's opposition inside of the government of the city. And Longerbane, so the mom ends up capturing him. Or no, she convinces the Chancellor to arrest him for
kidnapping Jonah.
Kidnapping Jonah. But you find out that the mom is the one that kidnapped the son, which is crazy bananas. But then she ends up poisoning Longerbane and killing him. So then his daughter, which you just get introduced in episode 6, takes over for him, which turns out to be this whole other crazy story, which at the very end of the episode, episode 8, towards the end of it, you find out she caused everything.
Very Game of Thrones-esque, guys. You find out Sophie Longerbane is actually Jonah's sister.
Yeah.
Yes, the Chancellor's wife, Jonah's mother, had an affair with Longerbane, had 2 kids with him. None of the kids are belonging to the Chancellor. And then, the brother and the sister get together, the Longerbanes, Jonah and Sophie.
Yeah, but at least Jonah was after he realized his sister was like, what are you doing? And Sophie was like, whatever.
He's kind of he's like, oh no, we shouldn't. But
it was not like that.
Sophie
was like, Want to
Sophie
do it
wasn't even
again?
pretending. She was like, "This is going down," but he's pretending like he doesn't want to. They're going to end up together. That's definitely.
Oh, I hope not. That'd
definitely,
be,
definitely where it's going.
I mean, she was saying that, like, you know, for true power to rise, you need to stay within the family.
She called it a dynasty, except she pronounced it dynasty.
Dynasty.
A dynasty.
So that was crazy. And then another story we need to talk about. Oh, sorry, we're going all over the place. We know, but
all over.
if you watch the series,
It's just excitement. That's how good it is. We can't even. We're like, oh my god, and then this, and then this.
Another part of the show, which was I think my favorite part of the show, was the sperm roses in Argarius Astronon. He was the Puck living next to the sperm roses, and since the beginning of the show, we meet the sperm roses, and the sperm roses are this human white influential family in the and they were also connected to the whole Philo thing too, which turned out to be fabulous and great. We're gonna get there. So Imogen, the daughter or the sister of the sperm roses, it's the Ezra and Imogen living together.
She falls in love with him.
She falls in love with him. She was like, oh, I hate the Critch.
The Critch.
Critch.
She was very judgy.
Very judgy-wudgy from the very beginning. And she ends up being like kind of forced for family and money reasons to hang out with Argarius. And yeah, slowly but surely she finds out that, you know, he is actually a really charismatic, very interesting person and falls in love with him.
I think the most important part of that story is how you thought there was no electricity, and then I was right about that too.
All right, yes. They used gas. They were using gas. But he did have an electric thing.
He did, but that was like episode 6.
7
you
even.
That, yeah.
So, whatever. I think we watched that episode after we recorded that video. I was like,
Yeah.
God damn it. They end up getting together and falling in love. And then
Ezra finds out.
And goes in with a gun. And is like, get up, Imogen. And he's all crazy. And then, Imogen's like, no, get out.
Yep.
We're out. Peace. I
They
think.
sail away together. It's like the most beautiful love story out of all of that.
And then
you root for them more than you root for Philo.
Oh,
even, yeah.
100%. 100%. It was such a good story. I think. What do you think when they were on the ship? So at the very end, they get on a ship and they start sailing away. Do you think there's a little bit of regret from Imogen?
I don't think it's so much regret as that she feels sad about the loss for her brother. Her and her brother were very close before this.
They were.
So although she's really in love with Argarius, Agrius,
Agrius. Agreus.
Whatever his name is. She feels sad about Ezra. Their father died, they didn't have their mother, they were kind of a team. I don't think it's regret, I think it's sadness.
So what was the twist that we found out with that family and how that's connected to the whole Philo thing?
So the whole thing, guys, full circle. Everybody's connected. So
Everybody.
When we find out the Chancellor's Philo's dad, we already knew that the Fae that got killed was Philo's mom. Ashlyn. She actually, when she got pregnant with Philo, she didn't tell the Chancellor about it. He had no idea she was pregnant, but she had to go somewhere where she could rest and take care of herself while she was having the baby, and she ended up staying with Ezra and Imogen's dad when he was still alive and had Philo there with them. So everybody's connected. The whole city helped raise Philo.
Yeah,
it takes a village.
When Ezra found that out, he lost his marbles.
Yeah. He
is very, I think the only word is racist, I guess. I don't know if there's a Critch word or whatever they use. I don't think they did, but yeah.
He's very close-minded.
Very close-minded. But yeah, that was I think one of my favorite storylines throughout the whole entire thing. Like that whole story, just seeing the politics of it and Argarius the Puck, Egrius, whatever his name is, it was just he was like, you rooted for him, but then he kept on doing these things. You're like, why are you making it harder for yourself? But then you find out it's so good. It was such a good story point.
It's just good.
And then there was also this guy named Runyon Millsworth. Mm-hmm. He is like this character that comes out of nowhere. He is found in Aisling's apartment, flat, whatever they call it in the show, when Philo is going to investigate her murder, and he starts questioning him, and you find out he used to work.
He was friends with Philo's mother.
Yes,
they were both in the acting, singing community. They introduced him pretty early in the season. He kind of starts off as like a C character and builds his way up. He ends up getting a job working for
Jonah,
the Breakspears, and he's supposed to tutor Jonah. And Jonah at that time is already seeing Sophie Longerbane before he knows that it's his sister, and he tries to get out of his tutoring session by basically being like, you're gonna just say that I was here and that's it.
Because you need this job because you're poor and whatever. And this guy's like, basically just turns to me, he's like, nope.
He's like, I don't need that money that bad.
Nope.
He's like, I've been poor before, I'll be poor again.
And this totally shocks Jonah and respects and like builds a certain amount of respect for this Runyon character, which I thought was not going to be that big of a deal. But then at the very end of season 1, episode 8, Jonah hires Runyon to be his advisor.
Like advisor, yeah.
Which is very interesting.
He's the chancellor. He's the chancellor now because his father died.
Which also is an interesting point because Jonah is agreeing with Sophie in the courts, saying that
they basically need to get rid of all the Critches, is what they're saying.
Yes, and so they're both agreeing on that, and so but Jonah was sleeping with Faye down in the Row.
He was in the beginning of the season.
So does he really believe this? Does he believe that the Critch need to be cast away and sent back to where they're from? Or is he on the Faye side? And what is this Runyon character going to advise him on? Because we know he is pro Critch and pro Faye and pro Puck, and he's pro the whole community. So how is that going to be involved in all this? And since he was a friend of Philo's mom, and he is pro all that, and now that Philo and Vignette are they were trying to escape the city, but they were forced back into the city, into Carnival Row, because that's where they're all being kept. How is that going to affect it all?
I think Jonah he's got a weak constitution.
He does.
It's one of my favorite expressions. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's Jonah. He'll be flip-flopping for many seasons to come.
Yeah, because he'll probably do exactly what Sophie wants for a while, but then this Runyon character will keep reminding him to be a good person, and he's going to be conflicted, and that's going to be interesting where that goes, because he's going to say one thing, regret it, and then try to fix it. But when you try to fix a mistake, it never works out. Something bad always happens.
Only in Carnival Row, though.
Only in Carnival Row. We didn't talk about the mom. What happened to the mom?
Oh my god, guys. After she got over the initial shock that I'm always right and that I was right about her being the killer, she tried to go like bananas, and then she stole Vignette, and she tried to be like, tell me where Philo is or I'll kill you. And then Philo came to save Vignette, and then Philo like straight up gangster kills one of those Dark Ashers, but then she goes running to this other room where apparently the Chancellor's wife has like 50 other Dark Ashers that like was trying to assemble them, and then she's able to like bring back the other Dark Asher. He like picks his own head up and puts it back on his body, and it was all like, it was a pretty cool fight scene.
No, that was really cool. Just when you think Philo is going to die, what happens? Vignette frees herself, and then when like these movies or these TV shows and movies in general, they like stab the villain in the heart, or they go to stab him and they miss him, and it's like they hit him in the arm. Yeah, no, Vignette straight in the back of the skull.
No, yeah, like scissors came out of her mouth. She was like,
oh yeah, and then she opened the scissors a little bit. It was awesome.
Told you, Vignette doesn't take any crap.
No.
I said that before. I'll say it again.
Nah, you're right again. We know. Yeah, I think we hit all the points we talked. Yeah, so let's talk about our thoughts for season 2. We haven't really talked about this that much. We talked about a little bit with just now with Jonah and the whole shutdown of the city, which I have written down there. So at the end of season 1, the Critch are now forced into Carnival Row because of the attack on the Chancellor, which actually his wife killed him. But they're blaming it on a Puck.
No, they think the wife killed him. They know that the Puck stabbed him. But remember, then they said like they're like, where's Mrs. Where's the Chancellor's wife? She was the last person to be seen with him. And Jonah was like, find my mom. And they're all looking for her. They don't think that the Puck killed the Chancellor. They know that the Puck stabbed the Chancellor, but that's also how they find out about the Puck cult and everything else going on like that. The Puck's like took that call to action to then be like, here we are, and this is our cult, and we're gonna start like causing trouble.
Okay, right again. But it is great. So they did shut down the city because of the cult and because of the uprising of the Critch. And so there's going to be that whole thing to deal with. We're still going to be dealing with Philo and Vignette falling back in love, which I think will be fun.
Who doesn't love a good love story, guys?
So that's going to be fun. We'll probably obviously deal with Jonah and Sophie. I think like what we just said is going to be great. Because I think, like you said, he's going to be flip-flopping like crazy. I think he'll probably make a mistake or two. That's going to cause issues. I think the Runyon character will be cool. What do you think is going to happen with Imogen and our Agarius?
So what I think is going to happen, because they did not tie up every story detail, but they didn't leave a whole bunch left in Carnival Row. There's the whole story with Jonah and Sophie Longermain where they're going to fight over what they're going to do with the Critches, and the Critches are going to be stuck in Carnival Row for a while. But what my prediction is that wherever Imogen and Argarius are going, it's going to be some like island that hasn't been introduced yet, that's filled with some other kind of creature or some other kind of world or problem that they're going to be able to then take either as an army and come back, or find help and come back. They're going to have to come back, and they're going to be part of the rescue of Carnival Row, of getting people free, of fighting for people's rights. That's what I think is going to happen with all that.
That'd be interesting. I could also see, because there was a whole conversation about how he made his money. And you find out that he made his money by hunting down his own kind. So there'd be when you went to, what's the name of the city?
The Burg.
The Burg. You normally, if you were escaping there, and so you had to work off your contract. And so if you had a contract, but you broke that contract or ran away, and you didn't pay back the money that you owed, basically he would go down and hunt you down, and then he would get paid that money. So that's how he made his money. I can see that backstabbing him or coming back to bite him in the butt.
Oh yeah, people will probably be mad at him. He's not.
Because I don't think he'll be able to go to Carnival Row. If they do come back and he gets forced in there, I don't see people looking at him too kindly.
No, but I do think they are going to end up having a very large part of the story. And to be a very large part of the story, they'd have to be a good or a bad guy. And I think they're going to come back as good guys who save the day.
Do you think Philo and Vignette are going to stay in love, or they're going to love and then separate again?
I don't think they'll separate in like a I don't love you anymore kind of way. I think they'll separate in a the world is tearing them apart kind of way. They'll be split in some way where she's going to get sent somewhere, he's going to get sent somewhere, and they have to fight to get back together. I think they'll have a couple seasons of them. That will be their thing.
So they'll be the least interesting characters of all this.
Probably. I think they're going to build up other characters. The Philo and Vignette thing will still be there. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but where are they going to go with their love story? They've already defeated the odds and realized they love each other and that they belong together, and I don't think they're going to re-realize that.
We'll see. I mean, so what are our final thoughts of season 1? We've been talking for a while. We should probably wrap this video up. We've hit all the key points, I think. If we didn't, remind us down in the comments. I'd like to
hear from you guys.
But yeah, I think I love this show. I thought it was fantastic. Out of the 8 episodes, I thought there were 2 so-so episodes. Number 1 and 5 I thought were kind of like weak episodes, but the rest, those other 6 episodes were so fantastic, so great. I love the characters in the show. They did a great job of building all these characters up, even ones that came in like later in the season, like Sophie Longermain. Great character. Yeah, and I just am very excited to see where this show goes, and it's kind of maybe hopefully be our Game of Thrones replacement.
It is a good Game of Thrones replacement. It definitely has the same type of feel where they build characters up and then kind of give you a twist on who they really are or what's going to happen with them. Not as much as like everybody dies, like Game of Thrones, where like
it's not like that. I shouldn't have said it like that. But there's a lot of plot points. There's a lot of things moving. There's backstabbing. There's people fighting for power.
Yeah, they do a good job in 8 episodes to really build up a bunch of different stories and get you hooked on a bunch of different characters. And I mean, think about how short 8 episodes really is.
It's not
and
even...
there's so much character development and so many storylines that you fall, like they do such a good job with the writing and the acting that you fall for these characters. You believe in them. You're in like only 8 episodes. You're like, I need to know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah, so I love this show. I thought it was fantastic. I would suggest everyone watch this show. I mean, it's
definitely one of my, out of all the new shows I've seen in a long time, it's the best one I've seen in a long time.
I'm sure there's people out there who will hate this show, will think it's terrible. Those are the people that didn't like Game of Thrones, in my opinion.
Like all 4 people? There's 4 of you out there and we know who you are.
I think I work with 4 people that never watch Game of Thrones.
They're like
I thought was
closet
insane.
Game of Thrones lovers. Everybody loves Game of Thrones. Either you love Game of Thrones or you've never watched Game of Thrones. There's only 2 options.
Unless for the last season, and then no one liked Game of Thrones.
No one liked Game of Thrones last season. That doesn't count. There's so many seasons before that to like it.
Alright, so that's our review. We like
Carnival Row.
Carnival Row.
We do.
Watch it. Amazon Prime. It's all out there. Binge it. Love it. Like it. Let us know what you guys thought in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys. And what do we got coming up next? What are we going to watch next?
I don't know. We might watch that Pennyworth show.
Oh, the Pennyworth, yes.
We can watch that.
Yeah, did hear mixed reviews on that show, but I love Alfred. He's Batman's butler. Hello, how can I not watch that show? I'm a Batman fanatic. But yeah, I think that'd be a good next show to watch.
Guys, I've been reading so many comic books.
I know. I just told him in my comic book review that you've read all of the House of X and Power of X.
I'm so caught up, guys.
And
I can't wait to tell you all about it.
Yeah, so we're gonna wait until she reads all. We both read all 12 issues, and then we're gonna come through and like kind of talk about it.
I'm gonna tell you how I feel about comic books.
Oh wow, she's gonna hit you guys hard. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this episode. If you guys like what you saw in this episode, you know what to do.
Smash that like button.
And if you guys are not subscribed,
subscribe.
Get yourself subscribed, guys. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.